There may be explicit language in today's episode. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode number 148 of Tailgate Talks. This episode is sponsored by the mainstay Defrisher Recycling and Junk Removal and new addition, Laspada Contracting and Landscaping. Big ups to them for joining in on the sponsorship as well. We will get into details about more of both of them in the middle of the show. Other than that, back on this week, Robby Incmikoski back on the show again. Talk some Buccos. I'm excited for this one, and some Pens playoff season, baby.
And Alex actually will be involved in the Buccos talk because he actually has been paying attention. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Robby, it's baseball. You understand it. It hasn't been perfect. Obviously, that's just not how the game works. But let me mind it. Not last night. We're not talking about last night. We will, but so far, I'm having fun. This team is fun.
Well, I think they're a playoff team, to be honest with you. And I think that's for a few reasons. When you look at the starting rotation, they're pretty good. You get the best pitcher in the world in Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller following him. Excuse me. Oh, it's been a day. And I apologize, guys. I'm sorry running around all day. I was up early today.
Need one of these.
You got Skeens, Keller. You got a good bullpen. You got Connor Griffin. O'Neill Cruz's power. And you look at that in combination with, hopefully them making less mental mistakes than they made the first month of the year last year. And I think when you look at the situation as a whole, I think they put themselves in position to have success. Combine that with a division that's not tremendously strong. And I think that they have a chance if they just do things the right way, win games they're supposed to win, not go on extended losing streaks. I think they're going to have a pretty good year, and I think we'll see October baseball again on the North Shore.
Oh, for sure. And so far, and I know it's, like I said, baseball, it's April, it's early, but so far there's been a couple of games where, if this was last year or 2 years ago, we lose those games. We blow a lead. There's one we blow a lead and we come back and win in extras. I know that happened against Chicago last week.
Well, I mean, you can't. I mean, that's subjective stuff. I mean, nobody is ever going to know the answer to that. But they're winning this year, and that's what matters most. Just in terms of, just they're playing good baseball right now. They're energetic. They're having fun. You see, the cone in the dugout, the welder mask in the dugout. I mean, all of it adds up, and that karma could kind of carry itself through a year a little bit. And it's nice to see what they have going on right now. It really is fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And then that game that I was talking about, I know Yohan Ramirez got that win, but something that I would like to discuss is this series that's currently going on right now, and against the Washington Nationals on Monday. They got the sticks ready to go. The 16 runs, I believe 10 runs in the sixth inning. I believe everybody had a hit except for poor Nick York. He is 0 for 6. But looking at the sheet, I mean, Brandon Lau, he's just been hitting home runs. And Spencer Horwitz had one as well. And also looking too, because I know it's early, and I know he just came up, and I know he's just signed this big contract extension, and you already mentioned him already, Connor Griffin. Obviously in baseball numbers matter, but for him, he's only 19. He's gonna have ups and downs. It's gonna happen. But what have you seen from Connor Griffin so far? So I think the maturity of him at his age already is incredible, considering the fact that before he signed this extension, he asked, what is his team? He was thinking about his teammates first. And The fact that he's thinking that at age 19 that's awesome. Awesome. So, but what do you think of Connor? What have you thought of Connor Griffin so far?
Well, he was raised really well, and it's obvious. You could tell right away. You just referenced his comment. What would other teams think in a situation like that? And that is obviously it's a selfless thing, for him to say, and good for him. Good for him. It's good for him to, it's good for him to operate like that, going into it with the level of humility that he has. And that is a real reflection on how he was raised. I never worked with him. I never met him. He was drafted after I left the Pirates. But what I will say is rarely do you see that combination of talent and youth. And the Pirates did a really good thing by locking him up for 9 years. And, look, teams adjust, pitchers adjust, leagues adjust, all that kind of stuff happens. And it's a matter of how he punches back. And he has shown that he has a skill set to do it, and I think he will. But I mean, he's a week and a half, 2 weeks into his big league career. Give it some time, let it play out. I think he's going to be a really good player. And down the road, I think that contract is going to end up being a really good bargain for the Pirates down the road. And I think it's going to happen sooner than later.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And another thing with give it time, and I know obviously now I'm shifting to a veteran that's been in the league for a while, is of course Marcell Ozuna. He's been struggling so far. I am on the sense with Marcell Ozuna, and again, it's not been good. He's not been playing well. That's just the fact. However, the way I look at it is everybody needs to remember, for example, what happened to Rowdy Tellez a couple years ago. He struggled very much to start, but he started picking up because it's a long season for a reason. It is a very long season for a reason, and he picked it up for a while. Now, of course, there's going to be a certain time where if Ozuna's still struggling, then that's a conversation for that time. But again, we're in April. It's incredibly early, and I'm on the sense with Marcell Ozuna to give it time, in my opinion. I feel like because it's baseball. It's baseball. Like struggles happen. I used to play baseball too. There was times I struggled, and it's hard to come out of. So I'm gonna give Ozuna.
Did you just compare yourself to Marcell Ozuna?
I mean, it struggles. Hey, we probably had the same amount of strikeouts from what he's having now to my senior year.
When you look these slow starts happen. The guy's his 14th year. It's his 14th year in the big leagues. And this guy's been around the block quite a bit. He's a 3-time All-Star, made an All-Star 2 years. When these guys have been around the block. Struggles happen. I mean, let's see. He's got 12 games into the season that he's played so far. I mean, we're 10% of the way through a season. That's like looking in the NFL. Somebody has one bad game and going, oh, they stink. Well, it was one game. 16 games in the big leagues is the equivalent of one game in the NFL, or less than it was really 17 would. So, he's got 12 games under his belt so far. And yeah, obviously it's been a slow start. We all see what the numbers are. The numbers are obvious. We know that. Yeah. But sometimes, sometimes it just takes a little bit. Sometimes guys take a little bit longer than others to get started. And when you're talking about a 14-year veteran, a guy with the track record that he has, I don't think this is going to be a prolonged slump for Marcell Ozuna. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know a ton about the guy. I don't know. Maybe his analytics don't work out perfectly to what, maybe the Pirates thought they would so far. But this guy's not going to be a total bust. I'm not ready to compare a guy with a WAR of almost 30 in his career to Rowdy Tellez. I think that's, I don't think that's, a great comparison. But yeah, is he struggling? Yes. Is it going to continue? We don't know. But I wouldn't. A 14-year veteran, the resume that he has, what he brings to the table, and if he can just provide even a moderate amount of pop that's expected from him, I think, imagine what you can do with that guy in the lineup. and what he would be able to do if he gets going and they all get going at the same time. It's not an easy thing to do. So I think, for him, it's, he'll find his way around. He'll find his way around. This guy's had a track record of success that's way too long for him to continue these extended struggles that he's having right now.
And this is heavily subjective as well, but looking at the big picture with the start to the season this year, I would be willing to say that of anyone to be starting slow, he's probably the one you're least concerned about starting slow, not only because, like you said, of his track record and everything, but it's not like this is a young guy that you just signed to a huge 9 or 10-year deal. Did they give him a lot of money for 1 year? Probably more than some other teams would have, yeah, but I mean, he's an established vet. Like, he's essentially, based on what they gave him, he's a 1-year rental at DH to see if he can give them something at that spot in the lineup. So, like, I feel like a lot more people will be far more panicked if, like, Brian Reynolds was slumping, or, O'Neal Cruz was going 0 for 6 5 games in a row, or, something like that. You know what I mean? I feel like of anyone to not panic about starting slow, it's probably him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think part of it is you look at the body of work from time to time, and you think that's kind of what it is. Yeah, and he's a 1-year deal, and if he say it does bottom out and he ends up not, performing, what if he doesn't step it up, deal with that problem then. But right now, I don't know. I just don't think.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to hit the panic button by any stretch.
No, God, no.
I don't know. It's like, where's it going? You know what I mean? Like, we know what the numbers are. He's 12 games in. Like, how much can we talk? Like, it's been subject before. What are you gonna do? Beat it to death? I mean, you know what I mean? They're first place team. Or find time to talk about Marcell Ozuna. Like, there's a lot of good there. You know what I'm saying? Like, just in general.
100%.
So a guy like that, is it a good start? Clearly, it's not. The numbers are the numbers, not to be argued. But I'm not willing to push the panic button. Just like people talk about O'Neal Cruz and his defense. Well, the guy's going to hit 1 billion homers. Not runs. You're going to worry about a few missed balls in the outfield. That's part of it. You know how many other teams would take him? 29. So be happy you have him. So I think it's just something like that. So I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. And we already said it. It's April. It's not even yet. Like we're literally in the first month of the season. And then also with Marcell Ozuna, the Pirates signed him for a reason as well. Like, they clearly see, like, the teams sign these players. They see something that we don't. And we all we see is what we see in the games on TV, or we go to the ballpark and we see that. That's what we see. We don't see practice. We don't see in the cage. Like, what people are doing in practices in the cage can be totally different from what they're doing on the field. So you don't know. And also that veteran presence. Like, I saw him,
what he's doing in the clubhouse. Exactly.
Clubhouse. And I saw him in the dugout helping Connor Griffin with his swing a little bit the other night, with the angle. So like you said, a guy.
Wait a minute. Did you just say that he's helping Connor Griffin? Do you sure you want that guy helping Connor Griffin right now?
No, because he's in a slump.
He's been around a while. I agree.
This is certainly not the same as C.J. Stroud giving Caleb Williams some veteran advice in year 2 in the NFL.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
Yeah. Honestly. Well, Connor Griffin's not playing today, so maybe that was the reason. No, I'm kidding. But speaking of today, real quick, the lineup, of course, will be Cruz, Lau, Reynolds, O'Hearn, Ozuna, Gonzalez, Horowitz, York, and Davis. So far, the pickups for Ryan O'Hearn and Brandon Lau have worked pretty well so far in the Pirates' favor, especially the Brandon Lau trade, because I believe we got Magnum, Mason Montgomery, who is on the mound today. He is going to be an opener for the Pirates, and Brandon Lau in the 3-team trade for Mike Burrows. And so far, that trade is looking like it's been a pretty good trade for the Pirates. So we'll see where that goes. But last thing about the Pirates, Robby, I do know you were at the home opener as well. I was there as well. I was on the third base line. I don't know why I had to think for a second. I was on the third base line, and incredible game to be at. Fun game to be at. Mitch Keller pitched really well. And to me, the vibe, and I know it was, like we've said it a million times already, it's early, However, when you're at the ballpark and you feel the vibe, even on a home opener, and with a new team that you're confident that this is a playoff team,
Mhm.
it's an incredible feeling. That's at least the feeling that I got when I was there. What was the feeling that you got when you were
I
there?
have not felt a buzz for baseball in this town since 2013, which was my first year covering the Pirates. So for me personally, I have not. I haven't felt a buzz like this in a while. The buzz in the ballpark was ecstatic. People were fired up for Connor Griffin. It was full. There was an excitement for baseball that I haven't seen in a long time, and it was really exciting to see. And went with a bunch of buddies. We had a wonderful time. Um, I haven't seen anything like this, and I really, really like it. I really like the way. Um, I don't know. I just like the way this team is constructed. I like everything about it. I like the buzz that they're creating. I love Donnie Kelly as the manager on this team. It's a buzz we haven't felt for a while. It's nice to see people excited about baseball in April for the first time in a long time here in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, all those I almost said coins, cones being hoisted and the mask after home runs. Like this is again, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this so far, and we'll see where this goes. I believe Friday they're debuting the new City Connect uniforms, and AJ Burnett will be throwing out the first pitch against in the game against Tampa.
Mhm.
Um, I I think Bubba's that night, and then Skeens is the next night, I believe, because they're giving him the Cy Young Award, I believe, on Friday. So it's gonna be an interesting weekend, especially considering the fact that the NFL draft will be next week. Are you gonna go down there for the draft?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go Thursday. It's going to be a little crazy, but
Oh,
I'll go check it out if I get a chance. It should be a lot of fun to
oh yeah.
do. In terms of it's just an exciting time. It's
Mhm.
an exciting time for the city, exciting
Oh, yeah.
time, for tourism in Pittsburgh, all that kind of stuff. I love it. I'm really excited about it. I think it's great for the city. So yeah, I'm gonna go check it out. I don't know. I'm gonna go Thursday. It's gonna be might be a little too crazy,
Yeah.
a little too many people to battle that. Battle what 100,000, 150,000 people are gonna be there.
Mhm.
So we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. But it's exciting. I'm very happy that it's here. And we get a
Mhm.
lot of stuff done here in the city of Pittsburgh. Streets fixed, the roadway got patched up a little bit. I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Mhm.
stuff's getting fixed in Pittsburgh, otherwise would never get fixed. So it's really good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the last thing I'll say about the home opener. I didn't get to meet him because he was walking. He was walking towards probably where he was going to go sit to go cover the game. But I actually walked past. I believe you were on his show once. I walked past Jason Mackey for the first time,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I did not realize he was that tall in person.
Yeah,
He's
he's
so
great.
tall.
Yeah, the Pirates are lucky.
Mhm.
The Pirates are lucky to have somebody like that, covering the team. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
it's really good. Pirates coverage got better. The Pirates really stepped it up as an organization. Um, so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But Alex, I believe you have some bills to pay before we close it out by talking a little Pens hockey.
I do. So, first order of business, as always, this episode is sponsored by Defrisha Recycling and Junk Removal. Defrisha is a family-run business out of Greenville, PA, that provides services such as vehicle purchasing, scrap metal purchasing, appliance removal, junk removal, garbage services, dumpster rentals, curbside pickups, house, garage, and building cleanouts, and demolition around the Greenville and Pittsburgh areas. If you or anyone you know are in need of any of these services, check out the links in the description down below. Go to their website or their Facebook page. Get in contact with Defrisha today to see if they provide their services in your area. Thank you to Frisha, as always, for sponsoring this episode of Tailgate Talks. And secondly, the new sponsor addition to Tailgate Talks. We are officially introducing La Spada Contracting and Landscaping as our second official sponsor of the show. For any of your renovation needs, including decks, fences, patios, retaining walls, flooring, bathrooms, kitchens, and more, you can check out the phone number down below in the description. That is 412-508-1669. Call or text them to get in contact with them. They provide service to households within an hour drive of the downtown Pittsburgh area. Thank you, Laspada, for becoming the newest sponsor of Tailgate Talks. With that being said, gentlemen, we get April hockey this year again.
Yeah,
It
and
has
then
been too long.
I just want to say, with the freshly recycling and junk removal, you'll also find where Marcelo Zuna's career is going. Anyway, April hockey.
April hockey, baby. Let's go. So, I believe last time we talked about the Penguins on the show was after their explosive weekend series against the Florida Panthers, where they won by the scores of 9-4 and 5-2. The Penguins then, on Thursday, April 9th, officially clinched their first playoff berth since the 21-22 season with a 5-2 road win against the New Jersey Devils. Then, with a couple losses from the Flyers, Blue Jackets, Islanders, other teams like that who were right on our heels, we ended up clinching the second spot in the Metropolitan Division. People are probably going to be a little concerned seeing after that playoff clinching win against the Devils that we went 0-2 against the Caps in that weekend series, one home, one away, and then yesterday a 7-5 loss to the St. Louis Blues. But I am here to tell the entire internet that you don't need to be worried because almost none of the important players on this roster played in any of those games, minus the second loss on Sunday against the Capitals. But in the first game against them and the game against the Blues, you saw, I don't think, any ice time from like Malkin, Crosby, Rust, Letang, Girard, like any of like the bigger names that you would think of, Carlson. None of those guys really played in these last three because we already had the home ice to open the playoff series clinched. So a lot of those young guys got to get some time in. Saw a lot of Kevin and Avery Hayes, some Igor Chinikov thrown in there because he's an animal and you got to have someone veteran on presence there. Nola Chari has returned back on the lineup again. He's been playing well. You saw some from Anthony Mantha, but mainly a bunch of young guys. Ville Koivunen was out there. Rucker McGroarty, Tommy Novak, who's been in a bit of a slump lately. Hopefully he can heat back up for the playoffs. Raquel was out there. He's been unbelievable this year. That's just how deep this forward group is, quite frankly, that we cannot play like our huge big time guys like Russ, Crosby, and Malkin in the forward group, and you still got Raquel, Novak, Chinikov, Brazo. Like you still got all these guys out there getting minutes, which was great for them. Got a ton of minutes this weekend was defenseman Connor Clifton, who is currently one of my favorite guys on the Pens. He's just a straight goon defenseman, and I absolutely love it. But yeah, so 3 losses to finish the season, but the second spot and home ice to open the playoffs is ours. Pens finished 41, 25, and 16 on the season with 98 total points. And we will be playing the Philadelphia Flyers for the Battle of Pennsylvania in round 1 of the playoffs. 2 home playoff games against Philadelphia, leading straight in to the NFL draft weekend. Unreal timing. So playoff picture wise, everything is not set in the Western Conference as far as I can tell. Actually, no, it is. Everything is all set on both sides of the bracket. So we are ready to go. In the East, or in the West, I'll start in the West. We got Colorado against the Kings. We got Dallas against the Wild, Vegas against the Utah Mammoth, and Pittsburgh native Logan Cooley. And then the Edmonton Oilers without Leon Draisaitl and the Anaheim Ducks. And then over in the East, Buffalo and Boston in the first round is going to be a barn burner. I hate to tell you, Boston fans, this one's probably going to end in heartbreak, like it always does. But you know, you weren't even supposed to be here anyway, so it's fine. Then next is the Lightning and the Canadiens. That'll be a good series. Carolina and Ottawa. This feels like 2017 all over again. And then, as I said, Pittsburgh and Philly. So that is the bracket. One heck of a year for hockey, man. The Avs were unbelievable. They were the best team in hockey this year, which instantly means they will not win the Stanley Cup because they won the President's Trophy, and the President's Trophy winner is not allowed to win the Stanley Cup. So
That's true. That's true. To the first question I'm gonna ask, there was a comment on Instagram on the video I posted that you were coming back onto the show, Robbie, and we need to know: will you be rooting for the Flyers or the Penguins?
You know, I root for a great series in this situation. The Penguins are obviously a surprising team this year, and I think Dan Muse deserves a ton of credit, deserves a lot of consideration. I don't think he's going to get Coach of the Year simply because of what Lindy Ruff did.
Lindy Ruff, yeah.
He deserves an honorable mention for sure. But as far as it relates with, with the Penguins and the job they did is incredible, and they deserve a ton of credit. And I love that they took a risk, hiring a relative unknown. The Penguins deserve a ton of credit for that. As it relates to the series itself, I mean, look, Pirates, oh my God, the Flyers have a first-year, he's not a rookie head coach, obviously. Rick Tocchet is a former coach of the year. He's a legend in Philadelphia. The way he changed things there is really admirable, what he was able to do. So, it's the only real rivalry that exists between Pittsburgh and Philly. The Phillies and Pirates, when one team was good, the other wasn't good. Eagles and Steelers is never really a rivalry game. They're in different conferences and have been forever. And the Eagles sucked for a long time. So, and mostly when you look at the Penguins Flyers, I don't understand, I don't quite understand the hatred I understand the hatred for the Flyers, but if you're the Penguins, they have 5 Stanley Cups, and it started 16 years after the Penguins or after the Flyers won their last Stanley Cup, which was 1975, the year I was born, and I'm 50. So I don't understand, how it's much of a rivalry, but I see it. So yeah, I'm just hoping to see a great series. I mean, look, as you get older, we're rooting for laundry, man. You know what I mean? Ultimately, none of it matters. It's a hockey series. So, I think either way, either team will earn it. The Penguins weren't supposed to be in the playoffs, and they are. Flyers weren't supposed to be in the playoffs, and they are. You know what? Hockey fans get a real treat on this, and that's going to be pretty damn exciting, and I can't wait to watch it, to be honest with you. So I don't really have a rooting preference either way, but I just think we're going to see a great series and high emotions, and I can't wait to see it. I just wish it was here during the draft, too. That would have been fun with Penguin home games during the draft, but that's not going to happen.
Thank goodness.
That last Philly Stanley Cup you were referring to is part of one of my favorite timelines in all of sports, aka the legendary Freddie Shero and the Broad Street Bullies of Philadelphia. One of my favorite sports stories of all time. Those guys are pretty unreal. It's the most respect I hold for any Philadelphia sport out there, because that team was just unreal. They were so cool.
They were pretty good. They had some really good they're still legends in Philadelphia to this day, if that makes any sense. And, they lost Bernie Parent lately, but and that's obviously very sad. But at the same time, that team still lives. Jim and Joe Watson are around there. Bernie was around until his passing. The Hound Bob Kelly is still there. So a lot of those guys still live in the Philadelphia and South Jersey area from those great playoff teams.
Yeah, no,
I mean, those guys beat the hell out of the Soviet hockey team that was untouchable at that time.
They did. They certainly did. That's exactly right. That's why they still live, in that area. Why they're still,
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, my thought on this playoff, the last thing I'll say about the Penguins is that I hate saying I'm never confident in my teams, because you set myself up for disappointment towards the end. I'm not even going to do it with the Atlanta Hawks. The only reason why, yes, people are going to say watching this, but you just said that you're confident in the Pirates. The Pirates is a little different for me. But in reality, though, at least from the Penguins side, I think they can make a serious run in this. I'm a little concerned about the West. I am a little concerned about the West. That is my one concern.
We all should be.
Yeah. But from, like I said, the Penguins side, I think they can make a deep run. Am I going to say Stanley Cup? I'm not going to say it, but it'd be interesting to see what they can do, especially in the first round against the Flyers, at least from my point of view.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's I when I look at the NHL playoffs, I think back to the LA Kings. I think it was 2012. They were an 8 seed and rode a hot Jonathan Quick to the Stanley Cup Finals. other teams that have kind of come out of nowhere, and you got, powerhouses like Colorado Avalanche a couple years ago who are really good and kind of steamrolled their way to a Stanley Cup. I believe it was 2022. The Tampa Bay Lightning before that.
Yep.
I mean, I just don't think, I'm not one of these people that was ready to crown somebody before the puck has even dropped on the playoffs. Just not my thing. But at the same time, I mean, anybody can win. I mean, first of all, you got Sidney Crosby on your team, you gotta like your chances no matter what. That guy's still producing at a high level. So there's no doubt, what this guy, these guys don't need seasoning. And for these younger guys to get that type of experience, learning with a guy like Sid, and then you got Stuart Skinner, who's been to an NHL Finals last year, 2 years. So, it's I don't know. I'm just excited about it. I really am. I don't have I've worked in sports for a while, so like I don't get super happy or super pissed off when a team wins or loses. So maybe I'm not the right guy in terms of, if you're looking for like a fan opinion. But I love exciting hockey and I love exciting series, and I think that's what we're going to get.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, but in terms of what we had today, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Alex, you want to pay the bills one more time?
You want to say anything about the Hawks before I do that?
Oh yeah, they do play the Knicks in the first round. Like I said with the Penguins, I'm not going to set myself up for disappointment. Hawks is a little different. That's going to be a little tough. I didn't think they were even going to make it to the playoffs once they traded Trae Young, and I saw the return. But and for clarification, I like Corey Kispert and CJ McCollum, but I don't know. We'll see. Normally against the Knicks, I mean, at least in the regular season, they'll struggle. But for some reason, in like games that are like high profile and matter, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, they do have the Knicks in the first round, and I refuse to talk about the Charlotte Hornets winning in their playing game. So Swayze, if you're watching this, screw you.
Well, with all that being said, this episode of Tailgate Talks is sponsored by Defrisher Recycling and Junk Removal and Laspada Contracting and Landscaping. Check out the links in the description down below. Get some information on both of them if you need any services provided by either. And with all that being said, good night, America.